Okay, King and Mama Darnisha. King, this is for you. So the first thing is ratio. And a ratio is a comparison. So you probably heard your mom or someone arguing and say, no, 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 you have to compare apples to apples. You're comparing apples to oranges, right? And so basically with a ratio, the comparison must stay consistent. For instance, you understand what half of something is, right? Half is the same as having 50 over 100. It's the same as 4 of 8. These are all equivalent ratios. If you press in your calculator, 1 divided by 2, 50 divided by 100, and 4 divided by 8, you're going to get a value of 5/10. Okay? So, write equivalent ratios. So it's up to you to write the equivalent ratio. We can, for instance, multiply both by 2. If we do that, we have 18/4. We can then multiply them both by, let's say, 10. Doing that, you get 90 over 20. And if you press 9 divided by 2, 18 divided by 4, and 90 divided by 20 into the calculator, you're going to get the same ratio. 2 will go into 9, that's 4.5. You're going to get 4.5 each time, okay? So you can press that into your calculator. So this is an example of equivalent ratio. So you had a few problems like this. Just go through the rest of them and decide a number. 2 is pretty easy to do. 5s are easy to do. Multiplying by 10 is easy to do, or even 11s, right? So now you have here, you had some questions where you had to determine if the ratios are equivalent. Here I can just look at these two. You know that if you take 2 divided by 11, you're going to get something that's different from 4 divided by 11. But what you do in this case, simply plug it into your calculator. 2 divided by 11, and then 4 divided by 11. If they're not equivalent, then the ratios are not equivalent. Remember, if you're talking apples to oranges, throughout the whole argument, it has to be apples to oranges, okay? The ratio must stay the same. You can also write it like this. 1 to 2 is also a ratio, okay? Now, let's look at 4/5 and 28 over 35. These two here, so these are not equivalent. You can press that into your calculator or just look at them. Here, we have 4/5 and 28/35. Now, I know that if I do 4 divided by 5, okay, that's 80%. Press in 28 divided by 35 and see what you get. You should also get 8/10 or 0.80. So these two are equivalent. Another way is, if I'm looking at this, I can simplify this. I know that if I multiply 5 by 7, I get 35. And if I multiply 4 by 7, I get 28. So basically, we simply multiply by 7 over 7. 4 times 7, 28. 5 times 7, 35. But the easiest way to determine if they're equivalent, if the ratios are equivalent, pick up your calculator. 4 divided by 5, what you get? 28 divided by 5, 35, what you get? If they're equal, they're equivalent. Now it says, use equivalent ratios to find. I'll show you 2 ways to do this, and then you can choose which way is easier for you. The first way is, I look and see where the comparisons are equal. So for instance, if I'm, apples to oranges, all right, so apples to oranges, I have here my oranges. You know what, forget the fruit. Let's stick with the numbers. What do you multiply 5 by to get 20? 4, so multiply 11 by 4, and you'll get 44 over 20, okay? So again, I had both denominators. So I look at it and say, what do I need to do to go from here to here? I multiply by 4 to go here, so I multiply by 4 here. Basically what you're doing is you're multiplying by 1. 4 over 4 is equal to 1. And multiplying by 1 does not change the value. It changes the way that it's represented. Just like 5 dimes is the same as 2 quarters, right? Same as 10 nickels. Half, half, half. Different representation. All right, so that's one way. Another way is to cross multiply. Okay? When you cross multiply, you get 11 times 20. Okay? 5 times y. 5 times what number is equal to 220? The inverse operation of multiplication is division. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so you're just left with y. And then you want to divide by 5 here. And that's going to go 44, is it? Okay, yeah. So 44 is equal to y. Remember, I came up with it the other way as well. Okay, then you have here 11/8 is equal to 44 over v. Okay, so again, look at the ones where you have both numerators. To go from 11 to 44, what do you do? And do not say add or subtract. When you're dealing with ratios, it's multiplication or division. Here, what do you multiply or divide by to get 44? You multiply by 4. So multiply the 8 by 4 as well, and you'll get v is equal to 32. Or cross multiply. 11 times v is 11v is equal to 44 times 8. And I'm going to leave it like this, 44 times 8. Okay, divide both sides by 11. 11 divided by 11 is 1. You're left with 1v. 44 divided by 11 is 4. 4 times 8, 32. Hope this helps. Oh, make sure you go to TikTok. Follow me on Black Math Genius. Your mom is also my Facebook friend, so she can always tag me. Put the copy of the problems inside of the comments there, and I'll help you out.